Ladies and gentlemen, what's good? Once again, it's your boy back to bring you another 2 weeks in the NFL. Well, a week technically. Let's start off with what happened on Monday night when the Vikings went down to the Seahawks 37-30. I mean, damn, it was a good game for what it was, but once again, Kirk Cousins chokes on a big stage, has yet to win a Monday Night Football game in his career. I think it says more about him than it does his team, though. The Panthers surprisingly lose to the Redskins. I don't know how the hell you let the Redskins beat you in your own house. This is as embarrassing as it gets. And you know what? The Panthers responded right by firing head coach Ron Rivera. It's true. Ron Rivera's out as head coach. Smartest move they could have made, considering the fact that Cam Newton is old. That rookie, he's okay, but he's clearly not a franchise quarterback, at least not yet. And Ron Rivera is just not the one to do it anymore, especially when you're getting your ass whipped by the Redskins in your own house. That's as low as it gets for any team, really. Then, of course, the Packers kicked the Giants in the face in a snowy game, surprisingly snowy there in Jersey. No shock here, though. The Giants are trash, and, of course, the Packers are likely going to win that division up there north in the NFC. And, of course, the rematch from the brawl, the Steelers-Browns game. Of course, the Steelers win because the Browns are fucking terrible. Baker Mayfield gets hurt in this game. Let's see what else. Odell Beckham Jr. wants out. He wants a trade. And Freddie Kitchens is on the hot seat, the head coach. So, Browns being the Browns. I called it before the year even started. Before the season even started, I said that the Browns would be nothing. They would lose. They wouldn't even make it to the playoffs. And now look at them. They fall to 5-7. And they're only going to sink even further because that team is not disciplined. And quite frankly, it's a great team, but the coach is a piece of shit. He doesn't know how to coach. He's never coached before, and he's certainly not ready for the personalities on that team. So, Browns once again drop the ball, per usual, per tradition, out in Cleveland. And in the Battle of Florida, the Buccaneers beat the Jaguars 28-11. By the way, only a shitty team puts up 11 points and loses in a football game. And by the way, Gardner Minshew, you see his stats here? You know why it's on the board, folks? Because that bum Nick Foles got benched. Goodness gracious. Another quarterback gets benched after another bad game. It's the Jaguars are 4-8 and have a whole lot of rebuilding to do. Minshew is not the answer, but I can tell you one thing. Paying Nick Foles all that money certainly wasn't. They're going to regret that shit next season. The Dolphins beat the Eagles 37-31. This is probably as low as it gets for the Eagles, and what's sad is that division is so terrible that the Eagles could very well win it. It's coming down to them and the Cowboys, and both their records are terrible. So whoever comes out of that division a winner, trust me, they're only a winner because of the division, not necessarily because of their record or how good they are. And then going to Cincinnati, the Bengals get their first win of the season. That's right, folks. They finally win a game with Andy Dalton and not that rookie Ryan Finley. They beat the Jets. And by the way, you want to talk about a team that has a coach on the hot seat. I mean, not only is Adam Gase on the hot seat, their best player, Le'Veon Bell, only ran for 32 yards on Sunday, and he wants to be traded. Figures. They overpaid for the guy, they get him from Pittsburgh, and now he wants out because the team is garbage. Yet another team that has no idea to do with talent. And then from there we go to Indy, where the Titans, and I did tell you all this will be a game to watch, and look at that, 31-17, they ran over the Colts. And I'm telling you right now, ever since Marcus Mariota was benched for Ryan Tannehill, I don't know what it is with that team, but Mike Vrabel has them back in a position where they can actually not only get a wild card spot, they can make some noise in the playoffs. It's going to be a difficult stretch of games for them, though, even though we have basically 3 weeks of the regular season left. It's going to be a little bit of a difficult stretch for the Titans. As for the Colts, it's going to be difficult too, which is why their playoff hopes were pretty much dashed with this loss. But Titans, team to watch for the next 3 weeks. And in the game of the week, lived up to the hype. Ravens beat the 49ers 2017 with a Justin Tucker field goal to win it with literally, I think, 3 seconds left in the game when they were tied, about to go to an overtime. Statement win by the Ravens. 49ers taking their second L of the year. Not a bad loss for them considering they just lost to a really, really good team, a team that was just slightly better than them. But I'll tell you what, if they meet again in the Super Bowl, I would not be shocked because the 49ers are for real, but the Ravens are also for real. And a win like this solidifies it. Lamar Jackson once again having a big day. And with this win, I think he might take the MVP voting. It's coming down to him and Russell Wilson, who I'll get to in a minute. But I'm telling you what, Lamar Jackson making a strong case for MVP with a 10-2 record, and quite frankly, I think he only lost like one game last year, and that was like a playoff game. So he's only lost 3 games as a starter, so it says a lot. It says a lot more than Joe Flacco being in there, I'll tell you that. I'd much prefer fucking Lamar Jackson than Joe Flacco. And then from there, we go to Arizona, where the Cardinals once again disappoint and get their face kicked in by the Rams, 34-7. They get fucking trampled on for 4 quarters. And in this one, Kyler Murray threw for a lot of yards, but threw a pick. Jared Goff looked okay, but he basically carved up a defense that was already trash to begin with, so nothing impressive here. And of course, Todd Gurley running like a man who is hoping that his busted wheel doesn't just explode on him one day. He already has arthritis in a knee, but if that ligament or muscle explodes in that knee, he's finished. His career is done. And from there, we go to Kansas City, where the Chiefs fucking destroyed the Raiders, and they destroyed their playoff hopes too. I don't want to say that because they're 6-6, the Raiders, but this loss was so bad. And I hate to say it, this loss is terrible. Derek Carr, not that bum. Derek Carr, his brother, is not the answer. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That is god-awful. And compared to Patty Mahomes, he didn't throw as many yards as Patty Mahomes, but let's be real. It didn't look good for Derek Carr. He looked scared more than half the time because he didn't have protection. He made a lot of reckless and stupid throws, made some dumb plays, turned the ball over more than anybody else on the team. And at one point, you can see John Gruden just looking at him like, I can't believe I actually endorsed this bum in public. He is awful. So if there's a team that needs to look for a quarterback, it's the Raiders. You're 6-6 though, so you can't draft one this year, unfortunately, because all the good ones will be taken early. But if I were John Gruden, I would probably look elsewhere for a quarterback, because Derek Carr ain't it. The rest of that team is good though, but Derek Carr is not it. From there, we go to Denver, where the Broncos beat the Chargers in a shit game featuring 2 4-8 teams. Phillip Rivers got beat by Broncos rookie Drew Lock, who made his debut, threw 2 touchdowns and threw a pick. Good news about this game is now Drew Lock is starting to play. This was the guy that was supposed to take over the job after Joe Flacco got banged up, but apparently Lock was not ready yet. So they put in some other placeholder bum in his place, and now that Lock was ready, he came out and just won his debut. So, John Elway, you did good. At least you did good in the debut, but let's see how this kid pans out. So far, so good, though. 134, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Throwing the ball around, got Cortland Sutton in the end zone twice. Can't beat that. Good start. Texans beat the Patriots in the Sunday night game. I love this, by the way. I fucking love this. The Patriots are 10-2, but they are the most fraudulent 10-2 team in all of football. Brady threw 3 touchdowns and a pick, but let's be honest. Brady, he's frustrated with himself. He's frustrated with his receivers. He only trusts James White, the running back, and Julian Edelman, the receiver, as you see in the stat line. Everybody else, he doesn't trust them. He doesn't like them. He's yelling at receivers for dropping passes. He's yelling at other backs for not gaining yards. And quite frankly, the defense just could not contain the Texans' high-powered offense with Deshaun Watson. So, ugly loss for the Patriots. That sucks. Even though it was by 6 points, that kind of sucks. And then, on Thanksgiving, before this, we were served up 3 delicious games. And I say delicious because look at the scores. You got Detroit, the Bears and the Lions. The Bears actually come out with a victory here. The Lions had the lead in a good game. They played a good game. But in typical Lions football, they gave up the lead when it mattered the most. And unfortunately, that means the Lions are pretty much done as far as their playoff hopes are concerned. That loss right there now puts them at 3-8-1 on the season. Yeah, you're finished. You're not going anywhere but home for the playoffs. That's for damn sure. And then, of course, we have the Bills and Cowboys. The Bills go into Jerry's world and kick the Cowboys in the face. And what's humiliating about this loss is that Jason Garrett has been taking a lot of heat. That Dallas Cowboys head coach, he's been taking a lot of heat for a lot of bad losses, a lot of bad play. And considering how talented the team is on paper, it has just not translated to wins on the field. And with Jerry Jones' mantra of just win, the whole Al Davis thing, I can't see Jason Garrett being there long, even though Garrett's a good puppet and he doesn't get in the way of Jerry Jones' shine the way, say, a Super Bowl winning coach like Jimmy Johnson did. But nonetheless, Jerry Jones wants a puppet that wins, and Jason Garrett is not a puppet that wins. He's just a puppet. So after this season, I expect him to be fired. They won't fire him before the end of the year because Jerry Jones is delusional enough to think he can win a playoff game before the season is over. And quite frankly, that's not the case. He's not going to win a playoff game. He's not going to win a Super Bowl. And I wouldn't be shocked if Garrett is fired after Week 17 if the Cowboys do not make the playoffs, which, by the way, their division, the NFC East, is so bad. They might actually win. The Cowboys and Eagles are essentially tied up at the top. It's essentially a race to see who's going to win because the Giants are done and the Redskins were done before the season started. So while that division is still up in the air, God, it sucks. It's like the worst division in football right now. And then our last game. Saints get revenge on the Falcons at home. On the road, 26-18. Of course, the Saints led at halftime, never really let up on the lead. The Falcons tried to do something in the fourth quarter, but to no avail, too little, too late. Matt Ryan throwing 2 picks and 2 touchdowns, but just not enough. Just not enough. Falcons, once again, showing that they're a disappointment, even after that little 2-game win streak where they showed people that they had potential and then just let it go to shit. So, that wraps up the Thanksgiving week and weekend in football, and we move on to Week 14, folks, where starting tonight we have the Cowboys and Bears, 2 teams that played on Thanksgiving Day, given a whole week off, essentially, to recharge and play again. Goodness gracious. Both these teams need a win desperately. The Cowboys look done. The Bears look done. But, again, Trubisky is so fucking awful. They just might give that game over to the Cowboys. Pick the Cowboys in this one. And if the Cowboys don't win tonight, Jason Garrett is he's gonna be looking at the unemployment line. Maybe not right away, like Jerry won't fire him Friday morning. But it won't surprise me if he is fired by the time Week 17 concludes and the Cowboys are not in the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, Jason Garrett out as head coach. That's a lock. Now 1 o'clock on Sunday, Panthers and Falcons in Atlanta. Interesting. Very interesting right here. Okay, so I'm looking at this. Like, the Panthers are 5-7, Falcons are 3-9. The Falcons aren't home, but I think the Panthers are going to beat them. But the thing is, the Panthers just fired their head coach, so that team might already be giving up and waiting for whoever's next in line. So maybe the Falcons at home. Keep an eye on that one. Dolphins Jets. Oh, that's a shit game right there. That's fucking terrible. But the Jets are so bad, they just gave the Bengals their first win, and the Dolphins have actually been on a bit of a streak, so fuck it, go for the Dolphins. Apparently they're not all in on tanking. If so, then they wouldn't have even won a single game this year. The Jets, however, they're tanking, but they waited too late in the season to do it. Colts and Buccaneers, pick the Colts. Jameis Winston is a fucking turnover machine. Look at that, 22 touchdowns, 20 picks, 20 interceptions. He's probably lost, I believe, like 4 or 5 fumbles as well. Jameis Winston, turnover machine, versus Jacoby Brissett, who's an average game manager and will get you some wins. Go for the Colts on the road to go to Tampa and steal one. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Vikings and Lions. Shit. Go for the Vikings here. The Lions are done. They're 3-8-1. They're already cooked, just like the turkey that we ate last Thanksgiving. And quite frankly, the Vikings need to win more than anything after getting fucking humiliated on Monday Night Football. So I expect the Vikings. Wait, are they at home? Yeah, they are at home. Yeah, Vikings at home. Get a victory there. Saints 49ers, probably, I would say probably game of the week right here. I would say game of the week, or at least game of the week nominee. I'm going to go for, 49ers are probably going to be pissed after coming up short against the Ravens. They got revenge on their mind. I'm going 49ers on the road. They're going to steal one from the Saints in an upset. Saints are the favorites, but I'm picking the 49ers in an upset, folks. Keep your eye on that game right there. Ravens and Bills. The Ravens go to fucking Buffalo, folks. It is the showdown of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I'm picking Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to win on the road, but look at the Bills. They're 9-3. The Bills are 9-3. Not far behind the Ravens at all. Surprisingly, the Bills having a great year. Did not see that coming. So, folks, that's going to be another fun test for the Ravens. Plus, the Ravens are going to be on the road. Bills Mafia, as they call themselves. Those crazy fucking fans that put each other through tables, eat hot wings, drink beer, and fuck in the parking lot before, sometimes during, and definitely after the game. Those fans are going to be out of control. And even though the Ravens are used to rowdy environments, those fans are going to go at them. The players are going to be fired up. The coach is going to be all up the referee's ass. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to pick the Ravens on the road here, but if the Bills win, I'm not shocked at all. Bengals and Browns in Cleveland? Shit, that is terrible. The Browns are going to win because that's a cupcake game for them, but I'll tell you what, if they lose this one right here, you might as well fire Freddie Kitchens on the spot because the Bengals are already cooked. Their season is done. They have nothing to play for. At this point, they already have the number one pick in the draft, so they may as well just keep losing the rest of the games all the way through so they can secure that spot. But if they decide to win, which would be a dumb idea, then definitely fire Freddie Kitchens because essentially the Bengals are playing dead and all the Browns have to do is go in there, get the win, and get the fuck out. Even though they are at home, still it's the Battle of Ohio. Gotta get out of there before those fucking Cincinnati people go after you. And then Sunday at 1 o'clock, the Redskins and Packers. 3-9 versus 9-3. This is not a fucking contest right here. This is gonna be a beating, an assault and battery, a bludgeoning, a skull dragging, a curb stomping. This is gonna be a humiliating beatdown. The Packers are at home too. They're gonna just use the Redskins as a punching bag. Only thing the Redskins can do is just throw Hail Marys, try to run for 50, 60 yards in the snow, and hope that Aaron Rodgers has a bad day. Likely won't happen, but that's just about all they have. So in other words, all they have is about a miracle's chance here. Texans? Texans are going to fucking kill them, especially since the Texans are at home. Not close. Jaguars, Chargers, Gardner Minshew has a lot to play for, including his starting spot and some respect. Phillip Rivers, rumors are he's on his way out of L.A. He wants to be there, but the team doesn't want him. And when they move into that new stadium in Inglewood, I think it's opening next year or the year after, the Chargers are going to need a new face. They're looking for a new face, and they're not going to draft it. They're not going to draft that new face this year because they're 4-8. They're going to get a high draft pick, but not like the number 1 overall pick like the Bengals at 1-11 will. So I am going to pick the Jaguars here because the Chargers need to start losing games to get their face, while the Jaguars want to keep winning so at least they have high hopes to go out on after Nick Foles just completely shit the bed in his return. Oh, and here's a big pivotal matchup. The Raiders and the Titans at 4:25. It is the first of 3. I believe it's... Oh, no. Jaguars Chargers at 4:05. Okay, so this is the first of 3 4:30 games that are kicking off. First one Chargers and Jaguars kicking off 4-5. The Raiders and Titans. See, I told you guys to look out for the Titans, and I told you guys the Raiders need a win. I am going to, and I hate to do this because I have a lot of respect for the Raiders and for Raiders fans. I hate to say this. The Raiders need a win in the worst fucking way. They need that win. But the Titans have been on a roll since Marcus Mariota was sent to the bench. Since Mike Vrabel said, fuck this shit. Mariota, you're not going to fuck this team over anymore. I'm putting in Tannehill. He put in Tannehill, and now look at him. 7-5. And in the wild card playoff hunt, when I would say way back in like week 4, week 5, I didn't even think the Titans would be in contention for a playoff spot. Now, here they are in week 14, and now they're still alive for one. And the Raiders are alive for one too, but the Raiders have been trending down and getting fucking humiliated in back-to-back weeks. Like back-to-back skull-dragging humiliations. Not very good for John Gruden and the Raiders. 2 tough losses. I'm going to pick the Titans here, but I'm hoping the Raiders prove me wrong. I would say another game of the week nominee, Patriots Chiefs. I'm going Chiefs all the way. They're going to be in Foxborough, so Brady's going to feel comfortable at home, but Brady has been playing like shit this year. He has 2 targets he trusts in James White and Julian Edelman, the running back and slot wide receiver respectively. Other than those 2 targets, Brady doesn't trust anybody, and he's certainly not happy at the defense. The defense was playing good earlier in the year and carrying them to victories, but in that last loss, Brady was not too thrilled with the defense, and really Brady can't be pissed because the offense didn't do shit the whole game. So, I mean, go figure. If the defense shits the bed, offense is probably going to shit the bed too. Go ahead and pick Kansas City on the road. I think that's a safe bet. Steelers-Cardinals. Oh, the Steelers have a lot more to play for. The Cardinals do too. They don't want to lay down, but the Cardinals are not the team that the Steelers are. They play for Mike Tomlin. Despite no Le'Veon Bell, despite no Antonio Brown, and despite an injured Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers are 7-5 and have managed to somehow keep the ship afloat, even with starting quarterback Mason Rudolph being benched for Duck Hodges. And I think in this one, the Steelers are going to go to Arizona and they're going to steal it. I hate to say it, I hope the Cardinals win, but the Steelers are going to take it, I believe. And then in our Sunday night game of the week, it'll be the Seahawks and Rams in a divisional matchup. I am picking the Seahawks, of course. Russell Wilson having an MVP-like season. It's going to come down to him and Lamar Jackson as far as to who wins the MVP trophy this year. But no question, the Seahawks are a much more complete team than the Rams, who have just fallen off completely. They've traded away their best corner, Marcus Peters. They traded away some other pieces, including their other shutdown corner, Aqib Talib, who's on injured reserve. They sent him to the fucking Dolphins, and he hasn't even played a down for them yet. And other than that, Todd Gurley has the arthritis in his knee. Jared Goff has been playing like a scrub, even though he was in the Super Bowl just last year. So, easily go for the Seahawks here, no question. And then Monday Night Football, we have us an important division game with the Eagles and the Giants. The Eagles are 5-7. Cowboys are 6-6. And Eagles are in second place in the NFC East at 5-7. Giants, of course, third place at 2-10, and the Redskins, I believe, are in last place. I think the Redskins actually might be one above. Let me check real fast. The Redskins are up. Here they are. Yeah, they're 3-9, so they have one more win than the Giants. The Giants are in last place. The Eagles have a lot more to play for than the Giants, who are just looking to, I would say, looking to just not get humiliated. And also, side note for this game. Daniel Jones, starting rookie quarterback for the Giants, will be out. I believe it's some high ankle sprain or some sort of fucking injury he has. And in his place will be none other than the weird, retarded straight up brother of Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. And last time we saw Eli, it wasn't pretty. Even though Eli beat the Patriots, I believe he beat him in the Super Bowl. I forgot how many times he fucking beat him. think it was only once, but he beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He's a legit quarterback, but I think those days are far, far behind him, unfortunately. And I expect this to get ugly from the onset. Maybe Eli will bring a spark to Giants fans and give them some good old nostalgia for a night. But if not, it's going to be ugly, and the Eagles are going to take it, despite the fact that the Eagles are one of the worst second-place teams I've ever seen. And folks, with that being said, that is our wrap-up and our preview for this week. Week 13 in the books, Thanksgiving week in the NFL in the books, and now we move on to the final 3 games, the final push, the final stretch to the playoffs. These next 3 games are going to be important, ladies and gentlemen, because teams will start to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. I believe starting last weekend. There were some teams that were mathematically eliminated. Of course, the Bengals are at 1-11. That's a giveaway. But there are some others who are mathematically eliminated and who can be mathematically eliminated from the playoff race after this weekend. So, folks, make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you watch. Make sure you find out who survives and who does not. It's your boy, Jay Smooth, once again. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and keeping up with all of these every single week. I am going all the way through to the Super Bowl, folks, and I am looking forward to it. The playoff race is heating up, and I am very much interested in seeing who makes it and who doesn't make it. Folks, I will see you all next week. Enjoy the games this weekend. Enjoy all the madness. I hope your team wins. Let me know in the comment section who you're rooting for. Let me know some of your picks. Let me know any bits of news you might want to share. Anything in the comment section you guys know that I didn't point out or that I may not know, please feel free to tell me. I'm always open to that. Anyways, folks, you all have a great one, and I will see you after this weekend to wrap up Week 14 and preview Week 15.